Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week, I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Estrangement from your adult child or children is not defined by just a lack of communication. That in itself does not constitute estrangement. You might not be getting texts from the Prime Minister of Japan right now either, but that probably doesn't count as estrangement because, I'm assuming, you don't have a personal relationship with the Prime Minister of Japan. There's no expectation of communication between you. What I'm getting at is that estrangement, by definition, occurs only within relationships. This means that if you are currently estranged from your adult child or children, no matter how long it's been since you've heard from them, your relationship is not over. As long as they are intentionally keeping their distance, they are in a relationship with you. It's an estranged relationship, clearly, but it is by no means over. I make this assertion based on Murray Bowen's family systems theory. I'll put a link in the show notes to some information about that. Bowen referred to estrangement as emotional cutoff, and far from being the end of a family relationship, he saw it as a means of avoiding emotional tension within family relationships. From what I've seen, the tensions that lead to estrangement by adult children are not always consciously experienced, especially by parents. Some parents have told me the relationship with a particular child was pretty much always tense or difficult, but others were unaware of any tension whatsoever before their adult child became estranged. Families are subject to intergenerational stresses that may be invisible to most family members, even sometimes to the adult child who's using emotional cutoff to address them. So, rather than worrying that your relationship with your child or children might be at an end, you can think of estrangement as an expression of the current state of your relationship, one that started in the past, has this particular manifestation in the present, and will continue to unfold in the future in ways we don't yet know. And despite the fears you may have that your child will get used to being apart and might even forget about you, the fact that you raised them is for life. The apparent absence of a bond right now is, to some degree, an illusion created by the current separation and lack of emotional closeness. And I'm not sure we're designed ever to get used to being estranged from our immediate family members. But even when there's no contact or low contact, our relationship to the person or people who raised us is both permanent and irreplaceable. No one but the parents who were there when we were small can ever be our parents. All to say the relationship continues. So if you're not ready to give up hope of future relations with your currently estranged adult child, you can think of their silence or hostility as a phase of your relationship. And if you have a kind of separation anxiety due to their estrangement, there are steps you can take to address that anxiety and to feel better even before your child returns. Listen to episode 217 for tips on how to tolerate anxiety. Murray Bowen's general solution to family cutoff and other intergenerational problems was, in a word, differentiation. I described differentiation in episode 25, which was called Estrangement, a Phase of Development, and I encourage you to review that episode for tips and inspiration at reconnectionclub.com/25. I also discussed the concept in Chapter 5 of my book, Reconnecting with Your Estranged Adult Child. For most of us, differentiation is an ongoing, usually lifelong task. It's no less vital for you and me today than it is for younger adults and children. For unwillingly estranged parents, Differentiation affects the ability to separate thoughts and feelings about estrangement from thoughts and feelings about the self. Higher differentiation means more ability to seek understanding rather than validation, and responsibility rather than blame. Differentiation can be thought of in part as psychological integrity, the experience of being oneself, whole, congruent, and responsive rather than reactive in relationships. That's a pretty tall order, a lifetime's worth of work to do for most of us. But in my opinion, it's worth working hard on making the relationship with yourself a strong and peaceful one so that you can provide a strong and peaceful space for your adult child, children, or grandchildren to enter when they're ready. For their part, it's in estranged adult children's interests to periodically review their estranged relationship with their parents. And research indicates that they do. In particular, in these busy modern times, it's important to know whether parents represent a resource, not just financially, but emotionally, to make life easier, better, more pleasant, or less stressful. While you can never erase the bond between parent and child, you can give up on pursuing closeness if you want to. You're no longer responsible for a grown, independent child. But don't simply assume that estrangement is necessarily the end. As long as you, and hopefully also your child, are healing from emotional wounds, learning about yourself, and growing into a more differentiated individual every year, your relationship with your child is evolving, even if there's nothing but silence between you now. As a parent, you're not omnipotent, but you are uniquely positioned to change the parent-child relationship in absentia by changing your relationship with yourself. Your own connection to yourself, which I've spoken about before, especially in episode 212. Your wholeness, your well-being, your level of differentiation, those have always been the foundation of the parent-child relationship. What would it have meant to you, or what did it mean to you, to know that your own parents continued to heal, learn, and grow later in life? No one has quite the same impact on us as our parents, the people who raised us when they themselves were still learning, and who continue to learn and grow after that. Whatever personal development you might be doing today, you can safely continue to focus on. You don't have to know how they're going to find out that you're changing. Change makes itself known without any special effort. Trust that the opportunity will come, because statistically speaking, it probably will. Maybe when you least expect it. Once you think of estrangement not as the end of your relationship, but a phase of it, you can shift your focus to becoming more and more ready for reconnection when it happens. That work is never finished, by the way. If you feel like you've done the work and now you're just waiting for your child, you may have paused to rest, which is legitimate, but are you really finished? Even at the very end of life, few of us are going to feel like we've finished the work of fully realizing our personal potential. Take a break if you need one, but your relationship with your estranged adult child or children, just like your own evolution, is likely still ongoing. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.